All right, this will be our last percent section. This will be it right here. And we're going to talk about the second part of our percent increase and percent decrease stuff. The last one that you did for percent increase and percent decrease, they gave you a number and they gave you the percentage that it went up or the percentage that it went down, which is fine. In the case today, what we're going to do is you are going to be seeing how this works if you are given the number it starts with and then the number it either increases or decreases, and you find the percentage. And I've tried to set this up so you have basically two things that you could possibly be doing. One thing that you could possibly be doing is dividing, having a number on the top, having a number on the bottom, and dividing those things out. So like if this was 2 out of 3, 2 divided by 3, and that would get you a percentage. That equals a percentage. That's one of the things we've done. The other thing was when we've had like 63% of 14, and you had to figure out separately, well, I could do 50%, which would be 1/2. I could do a 10%, which would be 1/10, and I could do 3 1%, which would be 1/100th for all of those, and then figure out what it would be for 14. Those are the two things we've done. This is what we did for the last percent increase decrease because we were trying to find an actual number here. That's really the difference if you haven't caught on to this. If we're doing this, or we're doing this when we're trying to find a percentage. When we don't start with a percentage, we're trying to find one. We do this when we start with a percentage and we're trying to find an actual number. So that's something to keep in mind here. In this case, what we're going to do today is we are trying to find an actual percentage. That's what we're looking for here. So I believe I've got 4 examples and then 2 that you're going to do on your own. So 6 in all. So here's the first one. Jim has 6 Michael Jordan rookie cards. Tomorrow he plans to get 4 more. What percent more cards will he have tomorrow? So what I want to know is, and this would obviously be a percent increase. If you think about it, how many cards will he have after tomorrow? He's going to get 4 more, so he's going to get 10 cards altogether. That's something that's going to be important to know. But what we really need when we're doing these percent increase decrease problems, okay, we need the number that it started at on the bottom before the percent increase and decrease. So in this case, he started with, before he got more cards, he started with 6 cards. Okay. On the top, we need the amount that it increased or decreased, and it increased by 4 cards. There is our problem right there. Now we just have to divide it out and see what the percent increase was. So if I do 4 divided by 6 on a calculator, I get this with a lot more 6's, and we can just cut that off and make the answer 66%. So again, it's not really much different than what we had before. You just have to know which numbers go where. The bottom number is where we start at before the increase and the decrease. The top number is the increase or the decrease. So whatever the number of the increase or the decrease is. We'll do some more of these and see if we can kind of catch on here. All right, next problem. Julie had $20 at the start of the day. After going to Subway, she now has $8. What was her percent decrease in money? Okay, so we know it's obviously a decrease because she started with $20, and that's going to be important because that's where she started with before the decrease. Okay, so when I set this up here, my bottom number is going to be 20 because that's what she started with before the decrease. Now my top number needs to be what was the decrease. Okay, let's think about this for a minute. How much money did she lose in this transaction with Subway? Okay, it's not $8 because that's how much she has. That's how much she has after she went to Subway. I need to know for this top number what was the amount that she decreased by. And if you think about it, 20 minus 8 is going to be 12. She lost $12 to Subway in this transaction here. So here are our numbers right here. This on the top is the amount that she decreased. This is the actual number of decrease. This is going to be the number before the decrease. So now we just have to divide those out. I can just simply do 12 divided by 20. If I do 12 divided by 20, I get 0.6, which is the same thing as 0.60, which is going to be 60%. So basically we're saying when she went to Subway, she gave them 60% of her money is basically what we're saying there, 60% of her money. Next question. Gurnee Center's projected population in 2020 is 9,000 people. They currently have about 4,000 people. What is the rate of increase? What is the rate of increase? What is the percent of increase? That would be like the same thing. Okay. So we need to pick out the numbers that we need here. We know on the bottom, we need the number before the increase. Okay. We are increasing in 2020 up to 9,000. So we started with 4,000, so that needs to go on the bottom. That is the number before we increased it, is 4,000. Okay? That we didn't start with 9,000 and go down to 4,000. We started with 4,000 currently, and then we increased it to 9,000. So 4,000 is before we increase it. Now, our top number needs to be the actual increase. Okay? We need the actual amount that we increased it. Okay? We didn't increase by 900 people or 9,000 people because 4,000 and 9,000 would be 13,000 people. This is how many people will be in 2020. So I need to know how many we increased. Well, from 4,000 up to 9,000 is 5,000 people. So here's our problem right here, and we have it set up nicely. Now, if you notice something, the top number is bigger than the bottom number. So our increase is going to be more than 100%, which makes sense. Because we talked about before, if you increase by 100%, if you increase your amount, it's just like doubling it. So that's going to be more than the 100% increase here. Or not doubling it, but this is going to be a 100% increase because we're making more than 4,000. 4,000 is our 100%. So that's more than 4,000, obviously, for our increase here. If you look up here, we're doubling it. So if I just do this problem, 5,000 divided by 4,000, I would expect to get something over one whole, definitely. So if I do 5,000 divided by 4,000, I'm going to get 1.25. So now I just have to write that as a percentage, and of course, we've done that many times, that is 125%. So we would say that from now to the projected amount in 2020, the population is going to increase by 125%. All right, last one before you do your practice ones by yourself here. Nike stock fell sharply this week. It started at 200 points, but it fell 50 points down to 150. What is the percent that the stock decreased? Okay. So what we need to do is we need to pick out a few parts of this here. We know it's going to be a decrease. I need to know what did the amount start at before the decrease. Okay, before it fell, we were at 200 points. Okay, now I need to know how much it fell by. Okay, did it fall by 50 or did it fall by 150? It fell by 50, and it says it right here. It fell 50 points, and now it's at 150. But we're interested on the top here in how much did it decrease by, and it decreased by 50. Okay, so now I've got my problem. I've got 50 divided by 200. Oops, not 2,000, 200. And I believe that is going to be 0.25. So if I did that problem and got 0.25, this would just be 25%. And there would be your answer for this one. All right. These two problems I am going to ask you to try on your own here. And again, what you're looking for. In these problems, we don't have a percentage, so we need a percentage. So that means we're going to set up one of those division problems, one of those simpler division problems. On the bottom, we need the amount that it started at before the decrease, okay, or increase before the increase. We need that starting amount before something happened to it is on the bottom. On the top is how much it either increased or how much it either decreased. So why don't you take some time, work these out, and then come back to the video and see how you did. If you've got other questions, make sure that you let me know.